when you talk about somebody's passion and you really connect that, they light up, they open up.
People always look at networking wrong. You're looking at networking as how much can I give and tell you about so that you can then send somebody to me, or you can then decide that you want to work. No, that's not the goal. That is not the goal.
We can sort of segue this into what I call random acts of networking and how that doesn't work, right? The goal of the first conversation is just purely to figure out, do you want to have a second conversation? That's it. That's it.
So in order for us to have successful businesses, at some point in time, we've got to do this thing called networking. And Dean, you know, like I do, for most of us, networking is like, right? There's so much anxiety. There's so much, and there's also so much crap that comes out of it often where we feel like, well, that was a complete waste of my time. And so today, let's unpack that. And for two people who do networking and have existed in this, let's talk about how we actually make networking work.
Let's do it. This is a huge, fun topic where we both see very few people get it right early. Right? They figure it out over time with lots of pain and anguish and wasted virtual coffees. But yeah, we're going to provide some strategies today for our audience that you can take this stuff and implement it right now in your business, and see a huge difference in success. So let's kick it off with give us your definition, Atiba, of what networking is and what it's all about.
Yeah. So when I look at networking, it's really about, for me, leaving the other person in a place where they feel like the interaction that they had with me was one that was so great they wanted to do it again.
Yeah.
Okay. And it isn't, I'm never thinking about, hey, can I sell you something? What are you going to buy? No, I want you to want to be around me again.
Yeah.
Because the more you want to be around me is the more we're going to have opportunity to build relationship, which then lead to great working relationships.
Yeah. I would add.
How about for you?
Yeah, I would add, it's creating human to human connection and being of value. And value could mean a lot of different things, right? But just being of value, to your point, right? Leaving that person feeling good, feeling connected, feeling like that was different, right? So for me, it's about a human to human connection all the time, all day, every day. And we may talk to someone that we really like and we connect with and we have a lot of good energy with, but they may not be the right person to be a good referral partner. But it doesn't mean you can't be a good human with them. And like you said, leave them, better than you found them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you and I both use very similar techniques for this. You have the 3 Ps that you use, and I want you to explain that to us. And for me, which is your 3 Ps, it's ask, question, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
So many times we go into networking and we want to, and I do this and I do that. And you're just like verbally masturbating all over someone.
Yep.
And you're throwing all this up on them. And they're just like, oh my gosh, when this person ever shut up. Whereas I look at it from the point of view of, hey, how many questions can I ask you in the next 5 minutes?
Yeah. Yeah. And really intentional questions too, right? Just not random stuff that comes to mind, but really intentional questions to get to know the person. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what your 3 Ps framework really, really helps.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's break that down a little bit. So in a networking situation, it's the first time you've met a person. You should already know the questions you want to ask. So, on the Fractional Pros podcast, guys, we think strategy first. So go into these meetings, these calls, these events with a plan. Have a plan. Know the questions that you're going to ask. Have your 3 or 4 go-to questions you ask every person you meet. It feels unique to them, but then you're not floundering around. So with those questions, frame it up around the 3 Ps, as Atiba said. So the 3 Ps are personal, professional, and passion. And they're in that order very intentionally. So questions about their personal life. Obviously, you don't want to go too deep the first 30 seconds, but get to know them as a person. So when I say personal, it's them as a person. Okay.
Yeah.
Have a couple of questions ready there. So they could be questions about, how the heck did you get into this business? It's business-ish, so it doesn't feel too intrusive early on, but it's asking them about their history, their story. So personal. Then professional, obviously you can ask about their business and the clients, types of clients they work with and what they love about the work they're doing. Those are fine. But what if you ask them, tell me about a client you love to work with right now? How do you work? What do you do? They're going to open up because you're asking about their passion, what they love to do. So get past just the generic, tell me your ICP kind of questions. And the third is passions. Passions come as you get further into the conversation, or maybe that's meeting 2 or meeting 3 down the road. What drives them? What drives them in their life, in their family life, in their hobbies, in their business perhaps? But what lights them up? When you talk about somebody's passion and you really connect that, they light up, they open up. So 3 Ps: personal, professional, and passions.
Yeah. And Dean, I'll add to that. And this is one of the places where like a chat GPT can really help if this is not something that's intuitive to you that you can do before. Okay. And so I ask those types of questions, but I don't ask the question that everyone else asks. The thing that I hear a lot of people say to me is, no one's ever asked me that question before. Or no one's ever asked me that question that way before. You see, because that's the moment where you're asking a question that puts you in a completely different light. In their mind, they have to file you in a whole new category.
Yeah.
Which makes you memorable. And so you can go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm going to this networking event and I want to ask people about there's 3 Ps, right? So I want to ask them personal questions and I'm thinking about these types of questions. But what are other more unique ways to ask that question? For example, you may get back this one. At what point did you realize that the business you're in right now was something that you had to do? It's a personal history question.
Yeah.
But it's not, how'd you get started in business? It is the same question.
Yeah, it is.
It's probably the same answer, but asked differently and makes them think about the question and you in a totally different.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when you ask that question and they pause and they kind of look up and to the left, you got them thinking, right? You got them thinking. That's your signal that, that was the question. You got it, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see, but that is, people always look at networking wrong. You're looking at networking as how much can I give and tell you about so that you can then send somebody to me or you can then decide that you want to work. No, that's not the goal. That is not the goal. I know we've talked about this on this channel before. 7-11-4. Before people want to actually work with you and be in your sphere as a client or even a referral partner, right? They have to experience you in 7 environments, 11 hours, 7 interactions. I'm saying it all wrong, y'all. It's 7-11-4, okay? 7 times, 11 hours, 4 different environments. There, I got it right.
All right.
All right. And so this is only one.
Yeah.
And you're trying to marry them right now. It's not time.
It's not.
It's not time.
No, it's not. It's about the relationship. And really, if you think about it from a strategic standpoint, right, we can sort of segue this into what I call random acts of networking and how that doesn't work, right? The goal of the first conversation is just purely to figure out, do you want to have a second conversation? That's it. That's it. That's it. Do you like them? Is there some kind of synergy there? Good energy? And is there a possibility of helping each other out at some level in the business or in your life?
Yeah.
If the answer is yes to all those, you move on to the next conversation.
You book a follow-up.
You book a follow-up. You have a process. So I met a gentleman recently, fairly new to Fractional. He went through a different program and they told him network. They gave him some general guidelines. He said he had 900 networking meetings in 6 months.
Huh?
How many referrals or how much business do you think he got out of that?
He landed one client. I'm being generous.
None. Unfortunately, he didn't get anything from it except a headache, right? A headache. Because it was 900 somewhat random acts of networking. There was no strategy around it. There was no, that I could define, clear process. So let's jump into another one of the big mistakes that people make with networking is to avoiding this random acts of networking. We've talked a lot on this channel about ICP, ideal client profile, getting clear on who you want to work with and the value you bring and all of that stuff. And if you have questions, go find one of those videos and dive in. But what no one talks about is having an ideal referral profile.
Mm-hmm.
Getting clear on the people that you have the highest likelihood of having synergy with, where you can support each other. So that 900 networking meetings could have probably been about 45 or 50. And the results would have been exponentially different.
Exponentially different.
Yeah.
So let's break that down for a moment. And in fact, let's break that down with a story. And this story happened just last weekend. I was having lunch with my daughter and her husband and my granddaughter, and we're talking about my daughter's business and where she is, because she just had a baby. And so she's, just ramping back up the business now. She's a personal trainer. And so obviously she couldn't train people while she was pregnant and stuff. So, great. So she's ramping back up and we're talking about that, and she's adding in nutrition and so on and so forth. And we're talking about the first few clients that she had. And she said, I had some clients. We had a couple that went through and they went through the whole program and it was great and everything. Then I had a couple and it just didn't work well and blah, blah, blah. And I just feel like they weren't ready. They said yes, but they paid, but they didn't have the results. And I just feel like they weren't ready for me, right? And so I asked her, and I'm telling y'all this story because I know we've all had this situation where we had a client and we realized they weren't ready for us. And I said, so what would they have needed to be ready for you? And what I worked her through was a bit of an exercise to realize that, they may have needed some marriage counseling before this. Okay? They may have needed, because some other services, which I don't want to say too much about that couple, but some other services before they got to her. I said, okay, so if you know that, then you know that those professionals have your ideal client right now. And they're working with your ideal client right now. And so when we're talking about eliminating the random acts of networking and building your ideal referral profile, you're thinking about who has my client before me? Who helps them solve the problems that they're having before me? That's who you want to go and find and network with.
Yeah, 100%. And that ICP, that client profile alignment that you have that's aligned with the other person, they're working with the same kind of businesses, dealing with the same kind of business cycles. That is number one, the foundational part of your referral partner profile, 1,000%.
Yeah.
I'll add a couple of other things to continue to refine it. So you find people that work, let's say you do marketing for SaaS software companies, just for example. And you find other people that work with SaaS companies. They don't do marketing, maybe they do sales, maybe they do product development, maybe they do whatever.
Finance.
Yeah, whatever it may be. So there's alignment around client profile, step one. The second is what I call point of contact. Do they have a similar level of point of contact within the organization? So let's say you're talking to a bookkeeper that works with SaaS companies, but they only typically deal with the accounting team. Maybe they talk to the controller. They don't talk to the CFO, the CEO, the C-level of anybody. But as a marketing CMO, you need to talk to the founder. They may have alignment around profile of company, but there's misalignment around point of contact. They don't know the owners and executives. So that's the second thing to look for. Is there alignment around this sort of concept of point of contact within the organization? And what you'll find is that People that are talking further up the food chain are having more strategic type conversations, which probably align with the kind of conversations you have. So that's the second part. And the third I would throw in is what I call sphere of influence. Where do these individuals, these potential referral partners, hang out? What networks are they in? Where do they consume information? What people do they know? Just where is their alignment there? Right. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So as you think about building your referral partner profile, alignment around client profile, alignment around point of contact within the client, and then the sphere of influence. Those things will help you really quickly define your referral partner profile. Write those things down, guys. Stick them on a sticky note on your monitor. So when the next person rando on LinkedIn says, "Hey, Atiba, let's get together for a virtual coffee," run through that checklist. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
And that will speed up the process dramatically. So you don't have 900 meetings that waste your time and theirs. You can really tie it down to the right people, the right time, the right connections.
Absolutely. And so now we know, okay, so that's my ideal referral profile and how I look at that, right? And it's about creating this relationship where they want to know us and keep the relationship going. And this is not the right person. But let's talk about something else that happened. And this happens a lot in person. And I know I have a lot of experience with this, but I want to start with you and how you handle this as well. You'll walk into a room, and let's say there are a few hundred people in the room, and you should meet 10 of them. Okay? Let's say you set that goal. You knew there were going to be 100 people, and you wanted to leave meeting 10 people from this room that you're walking into. And you walk in, and you meet the first person, you have a great time, and that conversation naturally comes to an end and you move on. And then you start talking to the second person, and the second person has not had a friend in a while. And they just are so happy that you're asking questions, and they don't want you to leave. And you're now looking and you're saying, okay, I got X amount of time and I don't want to be rude to you, and I have to meet other people. Right? Mm-hmm. How do you handle that?
Yeah, I want to definitely get your approach on this because I love the way you handle this. I'll give you a simple way to handle it, and I use it in addition to the way you handle this situation too. But I'll just simply say, Atiba, it was great to meet you. But you didn't come here just to hang out with me all night. I'm going to let you go so you can meet some other amazing people in the room. So that's one way to separate from the conversation. But Tell our audience how you handle it. I love this.
So again, getting back to strategy, right? And getting back to the purpose. So the strategy is that we're meeting someone for the first time and we want to leave an indelible impression upon them that they file us away in their memory bank as someone we want to meet with again, right? And so we meet, and now we're having this great conversation. That's great, but it's going too long. If we're just rude and say, "Look, I'm done with you," that breaks everything that we've done so far. So instead, this is what I use. Okay, I have a few techniques, but this is the one I use the most. Okay, is I'm listening to you, and you're talking about things, and as you're talking about things, I start to tailor the question to get at a pain point that you have. And then I start to consider who else in this room that I've already met or already know can help you solve your pain point. And so now you tell me, oh my gosh, yeah, we're having such a problem in our bookkeeping department. And like, oh, have you met Pam? She's like a genius with finances and has an entire team of bookkeeping. She's over there. Have you met Pam? Oh no, you haven't met Pam? Come on, let me take you over and introduce you to Pam. Pam, this is my new friend. And we were just talking about their need for bookkeeping. And I was telling that you're like the greatest at this. And so I figured y'all should have a conversation. Now, I've put the two of them in a place where they can look at each other. Okay? And now that introduction has happened and they start talking and they're talking to each other. And I'm standing over here as the third wheel. Well, you don't need three wheels. And so that's how I can easily
back away,
slip away.
I love it. Well, and that approach does so many things. First of all, it gives you a genuine way to step out of the conversation so you can meet some other people. You're adding a ton of value to your new connection, and you're adding a ton of value to your relationship with Pan by connecting those two people with a common situation. So it's a multi-value way of handling that situation, and it works so very well.
Yes. I'll give you one last one before we go, because I just felt that you're watching this video and you're saying, but if I walk into the room and I don't know enough people, how do I do that? And then I get stuck with the first person. Let me tell you the other one that I use. Okay. This happens invariably in rooms. There are people who are awkward and they want to be in conversations, but they don't know how to be in conversations, and they're awkward. And you'll see them, they'll be lurking and they're looking at other people who are talking and they're lurking. Okay, great. So now you're in a conversation with someone that you need to get out of this conversation. Okay. I don't have a person to introduce you to in this room. I haven't found anything yet. So the next thing I'm going to do is we're talking and I'm just going to just kind of look around a little bit and find that lurker, because they're not far away. They're always there. And now I'm going to make eye contact, deliberate eye contact with that lurker, and kind of give them the head nod to come over. Give them the confidence to come over. Now they come over. Yeah. I'm inviting them in. And now I introduce them to the person I'm talking to. Again, y'all start talking and I back away.
Yeah, exactly. There's always that lurker, right? The person that's hanging on the wall is afraid, they don't want to break in. Go. Those are the easiest people to talk to at networking events because they have nobody else to talk to. So be their friend.
Yeah.
One more quick pro tip here, especially for in-person events. First, when it's a new event for you, what I like to do is I like to have a conversation with the organizer before the event. Get to know them. Usually they're very open because you're going to be there. And go, Atiba, you're setting this event. I'm excited to be there. Yeah. I don't know let's get to know each other a little bit on this call, blah, blah, blah. But who would you suggest I get to know at the event? Who should I be looking for at the event? They will know who's going to be there because they're organizing it. And then when you get to the event, you go right to the organizer, go right to that person, introduce yourself face to face, and they would immediately hold your hand and book you over to 2 or 3 people that they know are the power people in the room. Then you're right at the heart of the conversation.
Yeah. And even if they don't, if they do give you a few people in the room that you should meet, guess what? When you finally run into those people, you say, you know what? So-and-so did say we needed to meet.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so you're just building credibility.
Yeah. Transfer of trust right there. The organizer just said we should meet. So it's really easy to overcome that fear of walking into a room of strangers. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be that way. All the strategies of avoiding random acts of networking, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. So I hope for all of you listening that this gives you a playbook a bit and some more confidence in the direction, because I run communities and I talk to business owners all the time, just like you do, Dee. And nobody as bad as the 906 months, but everybody complains about network. Yeah. Everybody complains about how do I find quality prospects? And they're all, you got that guy who walks in a room and hands out his business card to everyone and says, I network. No, you didn't. Because your business cards, all the ones that you handed out, they're still in the room. No one took them.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But if you're strategic and you realize that networking is about them and their understanding and willingness to continue a conversation with you and follow up with you, and you took the time, as Dean said, to figure out who it is you need to be networking with and curate that down your results are going to skyrocket.
They will.
The results are going to skyrocket. And one of the things that Dean has done, which I think is absolutely, absolutely wonderful, is created a community where us as fractionals can actually get together and network. It's called the Collective, and it is the place that you need to be, where there are other people just like you who understand and care about the relationship and care about building something solid. And so, Dean, how do they find out more about the community?
Yeah, go to fractionallaunchpad.com and you can read all about it there. Or even better, just say hi on LinkedIn. Send me a message, we'll chat, and I'd love to share some more information, see what we can do to build a relationship together as well. So,
hey, as always, I'm Atiba, he's Dean. We're the Fractional Pros. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.